This Challenger Learning Center came about to excite students about education. We want students to look at what their goals are, and if they stay in school and they study hard enough, they can achieve those goals.
So they have four of them that look the same.
The student programs that we have here, we run 2 student missions, Rendezvous with the Comets and Voyage to Mars. What students do is they come in for 2.5 hours. They start out in the lobby area and learn about our mural. They then come in for a 25-minute pre-brief, and then half of them go into our Mars control and the other half into our Mars transport vehicle, and they are then on their various teams and they do their different jobs. We have 8 different teams. 2 teams do all the communication. That's the communication officer, who sends verbal messages through the headphone set.
Mars control, this is Mars transport vehicle. We are beginning our tasks. Over.
Mars transport vehicle, this is Mars control. We read you over.
The data officer types out the messages through the computer.
Carefully, data officer is going to help by writing down those messages that have numbers.
The navigation officers use the computer and they navigate to land us on Mars and get us off of Mars. The remote and isolation officers use the robotic arms to pick up different samples to study them. The remote officers study them in the glove box, and the isolation officers make sure that we don't have any radiation emergencies and to make sure all our chemicals are okay and not leaking. We have a medical team that tests the astronauts, their visual reaction time, their auditory time, and blood pressure to make sure that they're healthy. The probe officers actually build the probe that will be launched into space. And the life support team works on the different environmental life systems in the vehicle to make sure that everything is safe. And if something is not safe, we sometimes have an emergency. We often throw a few surprises in for the students, and we have found that the more the students are trained in the classroom, the better and the further they get along in their mission. So as they go throughout their mission, there may be a few surprises that they will encounter that they have to solve to be successful. Our facility is known as the Challenger Learning Center because of the Challenger disaster in 1986. And with the disaster, the families got together and said, we don't want to build a monument or a statue, we want to continue the educational mission. And from that, 2 years later, in Houston, Texas, was born the first Challenger Learning Center. And in that 12 years' time since the first one was put up, there are now 43. The best part of this job is to watch the students come in here and to see them learning, and to know that when they leave here, that although they had a good time, they did learn something. It's fascinating to watch 6th graders who aren't too turned on by education in the classroom do something like this, because this does get them excited about their education and what they want to do in the future.